Om Ajnanatimirandasya Jnananjana Chakshurunmilitam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Hare Krishna. So today, are you seeing my screen?
Yes, Prabhu.
Yeah. So we are going to start new chapter, 7th chapter. So if you remember last session, so there was a conversation between Narada and Brahma. Lord Brahma. Narada inquires about the process of creation, and Lord Brahma explained in detail how exactly the primary and secondary creation happens. And at the end, Brahmaji said, okay, so far I covered, the inquiries from you, and I described about Lord's Purusha avatars, the incarnations that help with the process of creation in this existence, in the middle creation. Now, I want to describe more about other incarnations. So Brahmaji wants Narada to hear about other incarnations. So we will discuss those other incarnations as described by Lord Brahma to Narada. So these are all the incarnations that he will describe. This is very similar to, in the previous canto, we have, third chapter of first canto also describes this. So we'll just read the translation directly because there are 39 incarnations described here. We'll not read the verses. Directly we go through the translations. So each of you can do direct translations. Okay, I'll explain some purport if required, but we'll just go here because these are all well-known pastimes. We'll just, go through them. Yeah. Please read.
Lord Brahma said, when the unlimitedly powerful Lord assumed the form of a boar as a pastime, just to lift the planet Earth, which was drowned in the great ocean of the universe called the Garbhodaka, the first demon Hiranyaksha appeared, and the Lord pierced him with his tusk.
Yeah. So this is which incarnation?
Varaha.
Varaha incarnation. Yeah, boar. So in this pastime, Lord lifted earth from the water, from the great ocean of devastation. Please read.
The Prajapati first begot Sujanya in the womb of his wife Akuti, and then Sujanya begot demigods headed by Suyama in the womb of his wife Dakshina. Suyanjana as the Indradeva diminished very great miseries in the three planetary systems, upper, lower, and intermediate. And because so he diminished the miseries of the universe, he was later called Hari by the great father of mankind, namely Somyabhuva Manu.
Swayambhuva Manu.
Swayambhuva.
Manu is the first Manu in this Kalpa. So there are 14 Manus in each day of Brahma. So one Kalpa is one day of Brahma. So Swayambhuva Manu is the first Manu in this particular day of Brahma. And Suyagna is the name of Indra. Indra is a post. Indra means the king of demigods. All the demigods who are in charge of material affairs. The king of them is Indra. Indra is the post. And Suyagna was the Indra at that time. This is not current Manvantara. Right? Each Manu's period is called Manvantara. There are 14 Manus. So current Indra's name is what? Anybody knows? Indra is a post. Current Indra's name is Purandara. Suyagna was not even from this day of Brahma, actually. He is from a different day of Brahma. But this Suyagna was as is like Lord himself. Yeah, so that's why he is mentioned as an incarnation here. So Lord, sometimes when there is no qualified person, Lord himself comes as Indra. So in this particular time period, Lord has directly come. His name is Suyagna. Yeah.
The Lord then appeared as Kapila incarnation, being the son of the Prajapati Brahmana Karmada, and his wife Devahuti, along with 9 other women sisters. He spoke to his mother about self-realization, by which in that very lifetime she became fully cleansed of the mud of the material modes and thereby achieved liberation, the path of Kapila.
So Lord Kapila's incarnation is described in great depth in third canto. So he and his mother Devahuti, his father is Kardama. So there was a wonderful discussion between mother and the son Kapila. So he describes about the Jnana path. So that is going to be covered in third canto. So here it's mentioned, third canto. Please read this one.
When the Lord descends personally or by his personal plenary expansions, such incarnations are called Amsha, Kala, Guna, Yuga, and Manvantara incarnations. And when the Lord's associates descend by the order of the Lord, such incarnations are called Sakyavesha incarnations. In all cases, all the incarnations are supported by the invulnerable statements of the authorized scriptures and not by any imagination of some self-interested propagandist. Such incarnations of the Lord, either of the above categories, always declare the Supreme Personality of Godhead to be the ultimate truth.
So Lord's expansions are called either Amsa, Skala, or Guna, expansion or expansion of the expansion, like that. So there are primarily 3 categories. One is direct incarnations, self same Vishnu Tattvas, right? Like Lord Rama is a Vishnu Tattva, Vamana is a Vishnu Tattva, Narsimha is a Vishnu Tattva. This is a direct expansion. And sometimes Lord empowers a Jiva with special powers. Like they are called Shaktaves avatars. There is special Avesha and special Shaktis invested in Jivas. One such incarnation is Parashurama. Parashurama is a very powerful incarnation, but he is a Jiva. There are also others like that. And the third level is Vibhutis. Vibhutis are very powerful Jivas invested with special powers. They are less than Shaktavesa, but they are also directly empowered by Lord. Yeah. Next.
The great sage Atri prayed for offspring, and the Lord, being satisfied with him, promised to incarnate as Atri's son, Dattatreya, Datta the son of Atri. And by the grace of the lotus feet of the Lord, many Yadus, Hayas, etc., became so purified that they obtained both material and spiritual blessings.
Is the incarnation of Dattatreya. I think this will be studied in 8th canto. Next.
To create different planetary systems, I had to undergo austerities and penance, and the Lord, thus being pleased with me, incarnated in 4 sanas: Sanaka, Sanat Kumara, Sanananda, and Sanatana. In the previous creation, the spiritual truth was devastated, but the four sanas explain it so nicely that the truth at once become clearly pursued by the sages.
So these four Kumaras are knowledge personified. They are sons of Brahma, and they establish the lost knowledge. So they have lived as brahmacharis all their life and of very small size. So they are also considered incarnations. Because transcendental knowledge is a prime necessity, the ever-conditioned souls are given a chance for liberation in every millennium of creation. This mission of Brahmaji was fulfilled by the grace of the Lord when the four sanas, namely Sanaka, Sanatkumara, Sanandana, and Sanatana, appeared as his four sons. These four sanas were incarnations of the knowledge of the Supreme Lord, and as such they explained transcendental knowledge so explicitly that all the sages could at once assimilate this knowledge without the least difficulty. Yeah, next.
To exhibit his personal way of austerity and penance, he appeared in twin forms of Narayana and Nara in the womb of Murti. The wife of Dharma and the daughter of Daksha, celestial beauties, the companions of Cupid, went to try to break his vows, but they were unsuccessful, for they saw that many beauties like them were emanating from him, the personality of Godhead.
So this is the incarnation of Nara and Narayana. They are performing continuous austerities and penances in the Badrikashrama in near Himalayas. So one time what happened was our Indra, current Indra Purandara, he was afraid of the continuous austerities of Narayana and Nara. Why are they afraid? Indra thought maybe these Naranarayana are performing austerities to become the next Indra. He doesn't want them to become competition for him. Indra has, sometimes this kind of confusion, or you can say fear. So to stop their austerities, to disturb their meditation, he sends the Cupid, the Apsaras from his abode to disturb them. But Naranarayan Rishi immediately understood the situation. Instead of becoming angry, what happened when Cupid tried to disturb Lord Shiva? He became formless. He was burned by the anger of Lord Shiva. That will be read in the next verse. But here, Lord is so great, he became very compassionate. And instead of punishing Indra, he would create many more Apsaras, and along with the Apsaras that came, additional Apsaras were sent back to Indra. Just to tell him, I'm not like you. Just take additional people. They were, the Apsaras who came were surprised when there are even more beautiful girls coming out of Naranarayan Rishis. So they immediately, became ashamed and they left. And, these additional Apsaras also go back to Swargaloka. So Indra realizes his mistake. Yeah. Okay, next. Please read.
Great stalwarts like Lord Shiva can, by their wrathful glances, overcome lust and vanquish him, yet they cannot be free from the overwhelming effects of their own wrath. Such wrath can never enter into the heart of him, the Lord, who is above all of this. So how can lust take shelter in his mind?
Yeah. So here you can see Lord Shiva was was very angry when Kamadev sent, to disturb his meditation. And even though he was able to control his lust, or not get lost by Kamadev's arrows, however, he was not able to control his own anger. So that is the comparison between just Naranara and Rishi's way of handling the situation versus Lord Shiva. Yeah, next.
Being insulted by sharp words spoken by the co-wife of the king, even in his presence, Prince Dhruva, though only a boy, took to severe penances in the forest, and the Lord, being satisfied by his prayer, awarded him the Dhruva planet, which is worshipped by great sages, both upward and downward.
This is the incarnation of Lord that appeared before the Prince Dhruva. His name is Prishnigarbha. So this incarnation awarded Dhruva planet to Maharaj Dhruva, which is even there today. Dhruva planet is the chandelier around which all the planetaries, all the planets within the current material universe revolve around, just like a chandelier. So Dhruva is the pole star, is the central on the Sumeru mountain, is the central axle for the movements of the rest of the planetary systems. Yeah.
Lord Vasudeva incarnated himself as Prishnigarbha, the personality of Godhead, with 4 hands, and awarded the prince a specific planet above the 7 stars. Prince Dhruva, after achieving success in his undertakings, saw the Lord face to face, and he was satisfied that all his needs were fulfilled.
Yeah. Please read.
Maharaja Vena went astray from the path of righteousness, and the Brahmanas justified him by the thunderbolt course. By this King Vena was burnt with his good deeds and opulence, and was then brought to hell. The Lord, by his causeless mercy, descended as his son by the name of Rutu, delivered the condemned King Vena from hell, and exploited the earth by drawing all kinds of crops as produce.
Pruthi is another Shaktaves avatar. So Pruthi in Pruthi incarnation, he is born from the churning process of the thighs of Maharaj Vena after he was killed. Maharaj Vena was an unrighteous king, very abusive to his people. So the Brahmana community chastised him and killed him. Brahmanas came together and make Vena dead, the king. But they realized they need a king, and as part of that they performed a great sacrifice and used Maharaj Vena's body to produce another boy. His name is Prutu. So Prutu happened to become an incarnation of Lord himself, Shaktaves avatar. And even though his father is very bad in character, so he still delivers his father, Vena, King Vena, from hell. This is the mercy of a devotee. Prutu is also a great devotee. So he fulfills the duty of a son for a father. Long life, obedience, good reputation, righteousness, prospects of being promoted to higher planets, and blessings of great personalities are all vanquished simply by disobedience to a great soul. See, this is a very important lesson for us. This is what happened with Vina. Vina is a great king, king of the world, and he will not have become a king without doing pious activities. But he was very disobedient, independent, and was very rude to people of his kingdom. So he lost everything because he was being disobedient to a great soul, to Brahmanas. So one should strictly try to follow in the footsteps of great souls. Maharaj Vina became a king undoubtedly due to his past deeds of righteousness. But because he willfully neglected the great souls, he was punished by the loss of all of the above mentioned acquisitions. In the Vaman Purana, the history of Maharaj Vina and his degradation are fully described. When Maharaj Prithu heard about the hellish conditions of his father, Vina, who was suffering from leprosy in the family of a Mlecha, he at once brought the former king to Kurukshetra for his purification and relieved him of all sufferings. So this is all given in Vamanapura, the details of how Maharaj Prithu saved his father, Veena. Yeah, please read this.
The Lord appeared as the son of Sudevi, the wife of King Nabhi, and was known as Rishabdeva. He performed materialistic yoga to equivalence the mind. This stage is also accepted as the highest perfectional situation of liberation, wherein one is situated in one's self and is completely satisfied.
This is the incarnation of Rishabdeva, the wife of King Nabi and Sudevi and Nabi. So their child. So he taught Sankhya Yoga, the breathing exercises also. Jada Yoga is called Jada Yoga. Yeah. Jada Yoga is a process by which you make your body like a dumb stone, senseless, right? But this is not practical in current days. That's what Prabhupada says here.
Prabhu, isn't it like Jadabharata also like similar to what you're mentioning here? Jadabharata
Jadabharata
story?
lived, Jadabharata is more like a devotee. He's, yeah, but he was also behaving like that only. He's, yeah, he would not care. Rishabdeva, what he would do, he would just, he was a king. He's an emperor, not just a king. But when he is in this path, when he takes up this path, he would give up everything. He would not wear a dress. He would walk in the roads, and he would not take his beard. Sometimes he would pass stool, and on that itself he would sit down. But when he passes stool, that smells like fragrance, all around. So he's not ordinary. Jada Bharata is yeah. Jada Yoga means basically just like a don't care anything, just ignore all customs, rules, and just always be distasteful to material impetus.
Thanks, Prabhu.
Yeah. Please read.
The Lord appeared as the Hayagriva incarnation in a sacrifice performed by me, Brahma. He is the personified he is the personified sacrifices, and the hue of his body is golden. He is the personified Vedas as well, and the super soul of all demigods. When he breathed, all the sweet sounds of the Vedic hymns came out of his nostrils.
So this is Hayagriva incarnation who gave the Vedic wisdom. Yeah.
At the end of the millennium, the would-be Vivatsva Manu of the name Satyavrata would see the Lord in the fish incarnation is the shelter of all kinds of living entities, up to those in the earthly planets. Because of my fear of the vast water at the end of the millennium, the Vedas come out of my Brahma's mouth, and the Lord enjoys those vast waters and protects the Vedas.
Yeah, this is the Matsya avatar. And this is part of the last Manvantara, Vaivasvata Manu. So, yeah, Satyavrata was the Vaivasvata Manu. So, Lord protects Vedas. Okay, next.
The primeval Lord then assumed the tortoise incarnation in order to serve as a resting place for the Mandara mountain, which was acting as a churning rod. The demigods and the demons were churning the ocean of milk with the Mandara mountain in order to extract nectar. The mountain moved back and forth, scratching the back of Lord Tortoise, who, while partially sleeping, was experiencing an itching sensation.
Yeah. So this is which incarnation?
Kurma avatar.
Yeah, Kurma avatar. So when the Mandara mountain was on the back of Lord Kurma, and demigods and demons are pulling and pushing, it was like a small scratch for the Lord in the form of Kurma avatar. Yeah, next.
The personality of Godhead assumed the incarnation of Narasimha Dev in order to vanquish the great fears of the demigods. He killed the king of demons, Hiranyakashipu, who challenged the Lord with a club in his hand by placing the demon on his thighs and piercing him with his nails, rolling his eyebrows in anger and showing his fearful teeth and mouth.
This is Narasimha Deva to protect the devotee boy Prahlad. Yeah, please read.
The leader of the elephants, whose leg was attacked in a river by a crocodile of superior strength, was much aggrieved. Taking a lotus flower in his trunk, he addressed the Lord, saying, O original enjoyer, Lord of the universe, O deliverer, as famous as a place of pilgrimage, all are purified simply by hearing your holy name, which is worthy to be chanted.
This is the pastime of Gajendra Moksha, where Gajendra, the elephant, was attacked by a fierce crocodile who was gaining strength, and the fight happened for a very long time. But because the elephant was a devotee in his past life, so he was able to remember the prayers. So he prays, in this verse there are also prayers. Adi Purusha, Akila Lokanatha, is the maintainer of all living entities. Tirthashrava, you are as great as a place of pilgrimage. Shravana Mangala, hearing your pastimes and holy name is all auspicious. Namadeya is whose name is worth chanting. So these are the various descriptions, praised by the Gajendra. And at that time, Lord incarnated, and his name is Hari. The incarnation of Lord that came is Hari. The personality of Godhead Hari appeared at once on the back of his eternal bearer, Garuda, and delivered the elephant. Lord's holy name is called Sravana Mangala. This means that one receives everything auspicious simply by hearing the holy name. In other place, in Srimad Bhagavatam, his holy name is described as Punya Shravana Kirtana. It is a pious act simply to chant and hear about Lord. Next.
The personality of Godhead, after hearing the elephant's plea, felt that the elephant needed his immediate help, for he was in great distress. Thus at once the Lord appeared there on the wings of the kings of bird, Garuda, fully equipped with his weapon, the wheel chakra. With the wheel, he cut to pieces the mouth of the crocodile to save the elephant, and he delivered the elephant by lifting him by his trunk.
Yeah. So this is the same pastime. Lord appeared and protected his devotee. Okay.
The Lord, although transcendental to all material modes, still surpassed all the qualities of the sons of Aditi, known as Adityas. The Lord appeared as the youngest son of Aditi and because he surpassed all the planets of the universe, he is the supreme personality of Godhead. On the pretense of asking for a measurement of 3 footsteps of land, he took away all the lands of Bali Maharaj. He asked simply because without begging, no authority can take one's rightful possession.
This is Vamandev incarnation discussed further in 8th canto. Many of these above pastimes are either in the 4th canto or 8th canto, except for Hiranyakashipu, Prahlad Maharaj, which is in 7th canto. Yeah, please read.
Bali Maharaja, who put on his head the water washed from the lotus feet of the Lord, did not think of anything besides his promise, in spite of being forbidden by his spiritual master. The king dedicated his own personal body to fulfill the measurements of the Lord's third step. For such a personality, even the kingdom of heaven, which he conquered by strength, was of no value.
Yeah. So the king dedicated his own personal body to fulfill the measurement of Lord's third step. Yeah, so this is Bali. Because he was able to do such a sacrifice, he became one of the 12 Mahajanas. Right? So at that time, even his own spiritual master forbids him from doing what he's doing. But he understands from his own scriptural understanding that it is perfectly all right to give up everything for the Lord's sake. And he does that. So in a way, he went against his guru, but only when the guru is not in line with the tripotas, right? Sadhus and Sastras. Because the guru's teaching is not in line with scriptural teaching. So that's why he had to go against and become the great Mahajan because of his sacrifice. Please read.
Oh,
Nar- Go ahead. Mataji.
You can go, Mataji, no worries.
Thank you, Mataji. Oh, Narada, you were taught about the signs of God and his transcendental loving service by the personality of Godhead in his incarnation of Hamsavatara. He was very much pleased with you due to your intense proportion of devotional service. He also explained unto you lucidly the full science of devotional service, which is especially understandable by persons who are souls surrendered unto Lord Vasudeva, the personality of Godhead.
Yeah. This is Hamsavata. Yeah, please read.
As incarnation of Manu, the Lord became the descendant of the Manu dynasty and ruled over the miscreant kingly order, subduing them by his powerful wheel weapon. And undeterred in the circumstances, his rule was characterized by his glorious fame, which spread over the three lokas and above them to the planetary system of Satyaloka, the topmost in the universe.
This is Manu. Yeah. There are 420 Manus in a month. Wow. Okay, next.
The Lord, in his incarnation of Dhanvantari, very quickly cures the disease of the ever-diseased living entity simply by his fame personified, and only because of him do the demigods achieve long lives. Thus, the personality of Godhead becomes over-glorified. He also exacted a share from the sacrifices, and it is he only who guaranteed the medical science or the knowledge of medicine in the universe.
Yeah. So this is Dhanvantari. Dhanvantari is incarnation of medicine. Next.
When the ruling administrators, who are known as the Kshatrivas, turned astray from the path of the absolute truth, being desirous to suffer in hell, the Lord, in his incarnation as the sage Parasurama, uprooted those unwanted kings who appeared as the thrones of the earth. Thus, he thrice 7 times uprooted the Kshatrivas with his keenly sharpened chopper.
Thrice 7 times means 3 multiplied by 7 is 21 times. So Parashurama went over, the whole world, and in 21 trips he went and killed as many kings as possible who were all unrighteous. So this is the time when, punishment, like mostly people are very religious, the kings especially, in the rulers. Next.
Due to his causeless mercy upon all living entities within the universe, the Supreme Personality of Godhead, along with his planetary extensions, appeared in the family of Maharaja Ikshvaku as the lord of his internal potency, Sita, under the order of his father Maharaja Dasharatha. He entered the forest and lived there for considerable years with his wife and younger brother Ravana, who was very materially powerful. When 10 heads on his shoulders committed a great offense against him, and was thus ultimately vanquished.
Yeah. So Ravana committed an offense of stealing another's wife, and for this he was punished by the incarnation of Lord Rama. So when Lord Rama came, so there is Rama, Bharata, Lakshmana, Shatrughna, the 4, you can say 4 incarnations, right? So Vasudeva, Shankarsan, Aniruddha and Pradyumna. So they all came together once as brothers and vanquished Ravana. Yeah, next. Anyone?
The personality of Godhead, Ramachandra, being aggrieved for his distant, intimate friend Sita glanced over the city of the enemy Ravana with red-hot eyes like those of Hara. The great ocean, trembling in fear, gave him his way because its family members, the aquatics like the sharks, snakes, and crocodiles, were being burnt by the heat of the angry red-hot eyes of the Lord.
Yeah, so this is so Lord Rama being very upset with the ocean, water of the ocean. So it just shows how powerful Lord Rama is. Just with his glance, the ocean god was very afraid. So this is incarnation of Lord Ramachandra in the last two verses. We see every single verse is a single incarnation. Now this verse has, Lord Rama's incarnation was described in 3 verses. 2 are done. Now the third verse.
When Ravana was engaged in the battle, the trunk of the elephant which carried the king of heaven, Indra, broke in pieces, having collided with the chest of Ravana, and the scattered broken parts illuminated all directions. Ravana therefore felt proud of his prowess and began to loiter in the midst of the fighting soldiers, thinking himself the conqueror of all directions. But his laughter was overtaken by joy, along with his very life of air, with very air of life. Suddenly it ceased with the tingling sound of the bow of Ramachandra, the personality of Godhead.
Yeah. So you can see here, Ravana, even though he felt proud, he was immediately killed by Lord right after. So 3 verses of Lord Rama. So next 10 verses are all Lord Krishna's pastimes. Yeah, please read.
When the world is overburdened by the fighting strength of kings who have no faith in God, the Lord, just to diminish the distress of the world, descends with his plenary portion. The Lord comes in his original form with beautiful black hair, and just to expand his transcendental glories, he acts extraordinarily. No one can properly estimate how great he
How great he is. Yeah. So now we'll hear some extraordinary pastimes of Lord Krishna. Please read.
There is no doubt about Lord Krishna's being the Supreme Lord. Otherwise, how was it possible for him to kill a giant demon like Putana when he was just on the lap of his mother? To overturn a cart with his leg when he was only 3 months old? Or to uproot a pair of Arjuna trees so high that they touched the sky when he was only crawling? All these activities are impossible for anyone other than the Lord himself.
Yeah. So this incarnation is even special than other incarnations. To perform their pastimes, Lord Vamana expanded his form. And so Lord came in this very fierce form to kill Hiranyakashipu. So Lord has to fight a long battle and go through a lot of short-term losses also with Ravana. But here Lord Krishna is very special. He is in the same form when he was killing Putana, who was like miles long. He would just, eat away all the fires. He would just dance on it, in the hoods of a snake. So he is very special. Every pastime of his is, there is no fatigue or anger or anything like that in his pastimes. It's all sweet pastimes. So Supreme Lord doesn't need to expand or become small as part of his, encounters. Yeah, please read.
Then also when the cowherd boys and their animals drank the poisoned water of the river Yamuna, and after the Lord revived them by his merciful glance. Just to purify the water of the river Yamuna, he jumped into it as if playing and chastised the venomous Kalia snake, which was looking the tongue emitting waves of poison. Who can perform such Herculean tasks but the Supreme Lord?
Yeah. So this Kaliya's pastime.
On the very night of the day of the chastisement of the Kalia snake, who, when the inhabitants of Brajabhumi were sleeping carefreely, there was a forest fire ablaze due to dry leaves, and it appeared that all the inhabitants were sure to meet their death. But the Lord, along with Balarama, saved them simply by closing his eyes. Such are superhuman activities of the Lord.
Yeah. So this is pastime of no forest fire.
When the cowherd woman, Krishna's foster mother Yashoda, was trying to tie the hands of her son with ropes, she found the rope to be always insufficient in length, and when she finally gave up, Lord Krishna by and by opened his mouth, wherein the mother found all the universes situated. Seeing this, she was doubtful in her mind, but she was convinced in a different manner of the mystic nature of his son.
Yeah. So this is Lord showing the universe within his mouth. Please read.
Lord Krishna,
Go ahead, Mata.
Lord Krishna saved his foster father, Nanda Maharaj, from the fear of the demigod Varuna and released the cowherd
Boys.
boys from the caves of the mountain, for they were placed there by the son of Maya, and also to the inhabitants of Vrindavana who were busy working during daytime and sleeping soundly at night because of their hard labor in the day. Lord Krishna awarded promotion to the highest planet in the spiritual sky. All these acts are transcendental and certainly prove without any doubt his godhood.
Yeah. So this is when Varunadev want to see Lord Krishna, he basically takes away Nanda Maharaj to his abode, and Lord Krishna goes there to find him. And in the process, he gives the darshan to Varunadev. Okay.
When the
the-
cowherd, go ahead.
Go ahead, Prabhuji.
When the cowherd men of Vrindavana, under instruction of Krishna, stopped offering sacrifice to the heavenly king Indra, the whole tract of land known as Vraja was threatened with being washed away by constant heavy rains for 7 days. Lord Krishna, out of his costless mercy upon the inhabitants of Vraja, held up the hill known as Govardhana with one hand only, although he was only 7 years old. He did this to protect the animals from the onslaught of water.
Even as a child, again, he doesn't expand his body or anything, just pick it up with his pinky. That's Supreme Lord. Next.
When the Lord was engaged in his pastimes of rasa dance in the forest of Vrindavana, and living the sexual desires of the wives of the inhabitant of Vrindavana by sweet and melodious songs, a demon of the name Sankachuda, a rich follower of the treasurer of heaven, Kuvera, kidnapped the damsel, and the Lord served his head from his tongue.
Yeah, so this is killing of Shankar Chura, the demon who tries to harass in the Ras Leela pastimes of Lord. Yeah, please read.
All demonic personalities like Pralamba, Denuka, Baka, Baka, Kesi, Arista, Chanura, Mushtika, Kuvalyapida, elephant, Kamsa, Yavana, Narakasura, and Paundraka, great marshals like Salva, Vida monkey, and Balvala, Dantavakra, the seven bulls, Sambara, Vidurata, and Rukmi, as also great warriors like Kamboja, Matsya, Kuru, Srinjaya, and Kekaya, would all fight vigorously, either with the Lord Hari directly or with him under his names of Baladeva, Arjuna, Bhima, etc. And the demons thus being killed would attain either the impersonal Brahma Jyoti or his personal abode in the Vaikuntha planets.
Yeah, so these are all various, mostly negative people who were involved in some or the other fight, directly or indirectly. But because they have seen the form of Lord towards the end of life, they either, become merged into Brahmajyoti, or they'll be liberated to Vaikuntha planets based on their, consciousness. Okay, please read.
The Lord himself, in his incarnation as the son of Satyavati, will consider his compilation of the Vedic literature to be very difficult for the less intelligent persons with short life, and thus he will divide the tree of Vedic knowledge into different branches according to the circumstances of the particular age.
Yeah, so this is Vyasadeva incarnation who gave all the scriptures that we have access to and study right now. But he gave that out of compassion for Kali Yuga people who have very less time for spirituality. So it's of good fortune we are in this as Vyasadeva. Yeah, please read.
When the atheist, after being well versed in the Vedic scientific knowledge, and annihilate inhabitants of different planets flying unseen in the sky on well-built rockets prepared by the great scientist Maya, the Lord will bewilder their mind by dressing himself attractively as Buddha and will preach on sub-religious principles.
Yeah. So this is about Lord Buddha incarnation. This is not the same Buddha as the one that appeared in the recent times. So that is what Prabhupada clarifies here. Please read here.
The incarnation of Lord Buddha is not the same Buddha incarnation we have in the present history of mankind. According to Srila Jiva Goswami, the Buddha incarnation mentioned in this verse appeared in a different Kali age. In the duration of life of one Manu, there are more than 72 Kali Yugas, and in one of them, the particular type of Buddha mentioned here would appear. Lord Buddha incarnates at a time when the people are most materialistic and preaches common sense religious principles. Such Ahimsa is not religious principle itself, but it is an important quality for persons who are actually religious.
So we can see the incarnation of Buddha comes at a very, very bad time when people are very, very atheistic. And so he limits his teachings, even though he's capable of teaching more, he limits his teaching to only, moral principles like ahimsa, paramo dharma, like that. So ahimsa, one should avoid killing animals, like that. Yeah. So such ahimsa is not a religious principle itself, but it is an important quality for persons who are actually religious. Even today, we see most, famous spiritual leaders, they are teaching sub-religious principles. They're not directly teaching about the, like incarnations, or they don't bring such depth of teaching. Because in Kali Yuga, most people are unqualified for such knowledge. They are limited to very basic understanding of spirituality. And that's why the atheistic philosophies like Buddha will find their, find their customers, you can say. Because 90% of the people, they are not ready for devotion service. Okay. Yeah. So I think the next verse onwards, it's further description, but not the direct incarnations. So this is discussed. So then we can discuss more, next week. Yeah. So all the incarnations are discussed so far. Any questions or anything?
Roji, if you can discuss a little bit about different kind of incarnation. I mean, the Avatar, and if you can just talk a little bit about it.
Yeah. So, like I said, the categories are Vishnu Tattvas first, right? And then, Shakti Avesh avatars, which are not Vishnu Tattva, means Jivas like us, the souls empowered with special abilities. They're called Shakti Avesh avatars. And then, so they perform very special function, they're almost on the level of incarnation of Lord. Like Parshuram, Prithu Maharaj, they're all Shakti Avesh avatars, extraordinary activities. And then Vibhutis. Vibhutis are specially empowered people, like demigods who perform, specially empowered to perform certain duties, right? It's like chief minister, deputy chief minister, and then cabinet ministers. So the chief minister is the Lord. Shaktavasar is the, deputy chief. And then next is cabinet ministers, demigods. So within Shakti avatars, there are again expansions of the expansions where they retain only certain abilities. So like that, categories are given. So the broad categories are Guna avatars. So one is Purusha avatars, which we, the responsible for creation, right? So the three Purusha avatars. Then there is Leela avatars. When Lord comes and performs wonderful Leelas, it is generally, direct Vishnu Tattvas, Lord Rama, Lord Krishna. So such incarnations, Lord Narsimhadeva. So that is that. And then there are Manvantara avatars. So we have seen couple of Manvantara avatars in today's discussion, right? So that is so within Manvantara period, there is a incarnation of Lord that comes. Especially it's called Manvantara avatar. There is Yoga avatar. In each Yoga, to establish Dharma for the particular age, achieving perfection, to help the jivas to achieve perfection, that is called Yoga avatars. Leela, Manvantara, Yuga, Shaktavesa. Yeah, I think these are the main categories. Maybe one or two more there.
Thank you so much,
And
Prabhuji.
there is also hierarchy. There is a diagram that shows the hierarchy of all of this incarnations. Immediate expansion, expansions of the expansion. So, for example, Lord Krishna, his immediate expansion is Balarama. From Balarama comes Chatur, so the Vasudeva, Shankarsan, Aniruddha, Pradyumna. These, Chaturvyuha incarnations come. From them come, from Shankarshana comes Lord Narayana. From Narayana again comes the second Chaturvyuha. So like that, the incarnations are all unlimited. But these are some prominent incarnations we discussed. Okay.
Sure. Thank you, Prabhuji.
Just by hearing these incarnations, we achieve so much of spiritual sukriti. So these pastimes are extraordinary. And just by hearing, we grow spiritually. Meditating, thinking about it. So, okay. Thank you all very much.